Hey, what's good? Ericka Kopp was raised in Virginia. She went on to become a healthcare lawyer and is also the caregiver to her husband that fought for us in Afghanistan, where he became a disabled veteran. She's now running for the House of Representatives for Virginia's 1st District because she doesn't think your health should lead to your bankruptcy. This is my conversation with Ericka Kopp. Before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com and get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Before I went on break, I was hearing so much chatter about something that's happening in Virginia, election-wise. So I wanted to go reach out to my buddy. Ericka Kopp is here, you guys. She's running for Virginia's 1st District. Hi, Ericka.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How's it going
Good.
in Virginia?
Things have been kind of crazy in flux here. I mean, first we weren't going to redistrict, and then we were going to redistrict, and then the court stepped in and eventually overturned the will of the voters. So it's been a little bit crazy here.
So when folks say the courts overturned the decision, how it might sound weird to ask this, but how legal is it for a court to turn over what clearly the folks want?
So there was a challenge to the amendment itself. So the way that it works in Virginia is that for there to be an amendment to the state constitution, you have to have a law passed by the legislature twice. And the first time has to be before a November election, and the second time has to be after a November election. So we know that after the 2025 gubernatorial election, where Democrats really hit it big. After that happened, we passed it, no problem. The issue came before. And so the timing of when this amendment passed before the election was critical to the analysis about whether the amendment itself was constitutional. And so when it passed, we were already in early voting for the November 2025 election.
Yeah.
And eventually, when this got up to the Virginia Supreme Court for argument on whether it was constitutional or not, which happened after the vote itself, the court decided that because the first time that this amendment passed was already after early voting had started, that it wasn't constitutional. Yeah. And so this happened.
Virginia's not the only place that has done this either, right?
Right. Redistricting has happened in a number of states thus far. It's happened in California. We saw Prop 50 pass, and that survived legal challenge. We saw the legislature redistrict in Texas. They're doing it now in Florida. They did it in North Carolina, and it's being attempted in a bunch of other states as well.
And it's to skirt the will of the people, to say it in plain English. And is it just the Republicans that are fighting, or are there some wishy-washy Democrats that are kind of like not wanting to release the reins of power?
That's a good question. As far as the legal challenges here to redistricting, it was almost exclusively Republicans that were challenging the amendment, and they challenged it in a couple of different ways. First, they challenged its constitutionality based on the timing that we've talked about. They also challenged whether the map itself, the new map, was fair. And so that kind of happened separately. And what was interesting about that is that that challenge happened in the city of Richmond, which Richmond being the capital of Virginia. That challenge resulted in the judge saying, yeah, this was fair. So we have the Virginia Supreme Court saying it's unconstitutional. Meanwhile, we have the Circuit Court of the City of Richmond saying the maps are fine, they're fair, they're good.
So how do you square that circle? How do you are you is Virginia, the courts that actually approved the maps, are they Are they fighting back? Are they saying, no, 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 we said that they're cool?
So it's not supposed to happen that way. And so with the map itself, the legislature approved it. They're the ones that gave it the seal of approval. They said that the map is good to go. But when it went up to the Supreme Court as far as the challenge to its constitutionality, by that time, this was kind of happening parallel. So there was a decision made out of a random court in Southwest Virginia that had zero connection to where all of this stuff happened with the legislature here in Richmond. And that court, Republican judge, and that judge said, nope, it's unconstitutional. So then that goes up to the Supreme Court. While that's at the Supreme Court, there's another challenge based on the fairness of the map. And so those two things, being the constitutionality at the Virginia Supreme Court and the challenge to the map being fair happening in Richmond City Circuit Court, those were happening at kind of the same time. But when the Virginia Supreme Court said, well, this wasn't constitutional from the start, that essentially stopped any other challenge that we had based on the redistricting amendment. And following that, the Attorney General here in Virginia did appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court denied the appeal. Yeah.
This is this is my frustration with everything that's happening. It just seems like when it comes to, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. When it comes to white dudes keeping power, it seems like everything is fair. But when it comes to taking away the voice of the people, specifically black and brown people and women and all these, minority groups, it seems like everything is on the table to be thrown off the table.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And, what's interesting is that by the time the Virginia Supreme Court made its decision saying, oh, this wasn't constitutional because in order for it to be, we would have had to disregard all of the people that voted early in the November election. Well, by the same token, we had the Virginia Supreme Court disenfranchising over 1 million voters who voted yes in the redistricting referendum. So either way we sliced it, there was going to be voter disenfranchisement. And it's like, okay, so which voters do we want to disenfranchise? And the way that they went about doing it, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, they clearly had this kind of political motive behind it, because by and large, people who voted yes were Democratic. People who voted no may not necessarily have been Democrats or Republicans, but they may have, not been interested in changing the Constitution. But significantly, people who voted yes, by and large, tended to be Democrats. And there's not that split when you think about who was voting early in the governor's election in November 2025.
Yeah. This is I hate having to say the word cheating, but I know. I've lived a long time as a brown man. I've seen cheating. I've seen putting fingers on the scale. I've been frustrated. All the things. They rigged the game, and we're not supposed to be upset. We're not supposed to call you out. We're un-American because we're telling you you're cheating. How does...
Yeah.
At least I live in California. At least I have a buffer from the bullshit. But you have a front row seat.
Yeah. and I live 2 hours from DC, so all of the bullshit that's happened over the last, I don't know, 6, 10 years, we're right here. We might
Yeah,
be in the nosebleeds from the perspective of DC here in Richmond, but
sure.
we're right next door.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that live in DC that might actually live in your area, in your district.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't have the information. It's not
Mhm.
like it's I've been hearing the words Jim Crow popping back up in all of our conversations. And now I again, I'm sorry I have to say this, but I'm glad that white folks are getting messed with too, because now you know it's real. When I was a kid, I would see black and brown people getting messed with by the cops. And then you go and you tell white folks, and white folks are like, well, they should have had their hands on the wheel.
Mhm. Mhm. There's
Well,
a
they
lot of
should have.
that.
Well, it was something that they were doing. And now cell phones came out, and then we were able to see that no, that little 8-year-old black girl that was celebrating in her birthday in her yard, she got roughed up by a police officer. She's 8 or 9, however old she was. And now they're just doing it out in the wide open.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going so far beyond the historical sense of, like, police brutality or, like, police misconduct, and racial bias in that regard. Now it's things like voting, and with
Yeah.
Republicans wanting to pass the SAVE Act. I mean, I'm a woman of color myself, but I am also a married woman that changed my last name after getting married. So, like, that would that would severely disenfranchise me. God forbid I ever moved and had to re-register to vote, like, that would be an issue. And I think a big part of the problem is that people are so brainwashed into thinking that what the Republicans are doing, and particularly what Trump Republicans are doing, is good, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. 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 This is when cuz I get to talk to Trump folks and stuff like that. At the end of the day, for me, the way I view everything is we're all people first, and we all need to figure this out. But if you are following slumlords, and let's not dodge the fact that we have tons of homeless people, we have tons of mentally challenged people with all this stuff happening, and you're just turning your back and you're letting the fabric of society tear, and you continue to follow the people that are slumlords. They don't mind it. As long as they're rich, they don't care that you are struggling.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly
S-
right.
And the frustrating thing is the people that are struggling that support this behavior. They think that I don't know, maybe they think they're going to get a invitation to golf in Mar-a-Lago one day. I don't know.
Yeah. I I don't know what the mentality is there either, but, like, I would love to study what it is that makes somebody want to vote against their own self-interests, because this man is the most lawless, most corrupt president that we've ever had in history, and thinking for his supporters, thinking that they have anything in common with a billionaire. I got news for them. They have more in common with an undocumented migrant that they do with a billionaire, and
They
particularly a
really
billionaire that is
do.
Donald Trump. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I don't I don't get it. Speaking of research and learning and stuff like that, you're a lawyer?
yes. Yes, I am.
What kind of lawyer are you?
I practice healthcare law, And it sounds really super niche, but it's actually a really kind of broad umbrella as to what goes into healthcare law. So it contains anything from defending healthcare providers in medical malpractice lawsuits to defending providers when there is a complaint against their license to practice, even representing and defending healthcare providers in agency actions like federal agencies. So, like, if there is a DEA raid, for example. So if the DEA raids like a dentist's office, for example, we would represent that provider. Or if there is an investigation brought forward by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Service, CMS, we would represent the provider in that capacity as well. And so it's a lot of like different areas of law that go into this, and it touches upon a lot of different aspects of the law as well. Like recently, I had a CMS investigation that also touched upon bankruptcy. And I know less than zero about bankruptcy. So it was interesting getting to dive into that area a little bit. But it's also pretty broad in the sense that, like, we represent some healthcare systems, so hospitals, and some hospitals have, for example, coffee shops in them. So if somebody slips and falls in a hospital coffee shop, we might represent them as well. Or if there
Hospital
is
or the slipper?
a hospital.
Okay. Okay.
We also had a case last year that involved a non-accident auto accident with a medical transport vehicle. So we represented the nursing home was our client in that case.
How do you have a non-accident accident?
So, like, you know how if you stop on your brakes really hard to avoid impact? So that happened, and the person who was being transported, they kind of slid down their wheelchair. They were in
Oh,
a wheelchair. And yeah, so the force of stopping the vehicle, even though they were, well, whether or not they were strapped in was an open issue, but they may have been strapped in, and still, even though there was no impact, the force that brought the vehicle to a stop made them slide down their chair, and from that, this person had a broken leg. So non-accident, that was an accident for the person being
sure.
transported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. That would suck.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was like, you're going in for a heart attack and you break your leg on the way. That would suck.
Right. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, when you first said it, I was like, maybe it was in my head. Maybe it was, you know, someone in the ambulance and someone else in a car didn't want them to make it to the hospital, so they smashed it. You know what I mean? I watched too many movies.
I haven't had to defend that case yet.
So since you're well versed in the world of healthcare, let's talk a little bit about affordable healthcare, Obamacare, or whatever.
Sure.
How do you see something like that working? Like, let's get into the machinery of that, or into the parts of that machine. How can we make it better?
I think in order to make healthcare better, what we need to have is universal healthcare. The way that we have a private health insurance model, I hate it because these companies, they are in existence really to serve their shareholders and not the people that they insure. And so they look for reasons to deny claims for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had experience with this in my personal life, and it's just, to me, it is a terrible way that we have these corporations who are literally profiting off of the backs of vulnerable people who need care. And then to deny coverage for claims, it's a slap in the face. Like, this is what we pay you for. And you mean to tell me that the thing that I needed care to receive was not medically necessary, shut the up.
For
Uh,
real.
yeah, like,
And then
I
if you
I
use it, you get punished. Your
exactly,
rates go up.
exactly. Yes.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane, and I think a lot of my job would be made a lot easier if we didn't have the private health insurance model. If people were able to get care when they needed to get care and not have to worry about, "Oh my gosh, am I gonna go into bankruptcy for having an injury? Am I gonna lose my house for getting sick? What if something happens to me that wasn't my fault and I end up in the emergency room? I'm going to get penalized for that because I have, XYZ health insurance and they decided they're going to raise my rates." It's not fair to anyone. And so I think that in order for us to have fairness in healthcare, we truly need a universal healthcare system.
The arguments against it is what's like the main argument against universal health care is
Said it would take too long to get care. That's what I've heard most often. People say, "Oh, I don't want to be waiting, X amount of months to be able to see a doctor." Let me tell you something. When I booked my dental cleaning, not a dentist appointment, but a cleaning with a hygienist who is not a licensed dentist, okay? It was going to take 18 months for me to get a cleaning. You're supposed to get one of those every 6 months.
yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
already waiting 3 times as long as it is. That's with the healthcare system that we have right now.
And you're
It
going
takes
broke.
yeah. It takes months to get imaging, if we
Yeah.
ever get it at all,
Yeah.
and surgery scheduling is months and months out as it is. So
This is where I get frustrated. I'm frustrated with the whole thing, and especially like you're my first conversation after coming back from a 2 week
yay!
2 week vacation, so I'm still, I'm still island minded right now. But the fact that we can't afford to be healthy, complicated by we're lab rats with all the scientifically created food stuff.
Mhm.
And then no one wants these long lines and all this stuff. But if we fix the education system, maybe we would have more doctors and dentists. We can fix these problems, and it's not difficult. Cuba, with close to zero resources, has more doctors. I think the stat is they have more doctors per square foot than anyone else on the planet. In Cuba, you can go to school from kindergarten to becoming a doctor for free. And from what I understand, they're getting close to fixing Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And we are talking about the most resource having, the richest country and all this other stuff. And
Mhm.
we are slums being run by slumlords. This is this is and then you leave the country and you see just how happy people are.
Yeah.
We are a noisy country. And we're not fixing anything. Cuz we have a bunch of bums driving the bus.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
so frustrating.
It truly is, and you're right. These problems are fixable. What we've done, and by we, I mean Congress, the president, we as a society has done, what we've done is we've made it so difficult for people to achieve their dreams, for people to want to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
For what? For nothing. For corporate interests and other special interests. And the way that we have it set up now, it's only going to get worse because of the big bullshit bill, I'm not going to call it by its actual name.
It's a
That
stupid bill.
bill,
It's a
exactly, it's
stupid
going to
bill.
make it so much more difficult for the United States to graduate doctors,
Yeah.
dentists,
Yeah.
other healthcare providers. So we're going to get to a very real point in a few years where there is a shortage of medical providers because we as a society
Are dumb.
messed it all up.
We're stupid.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be upset for all the racists out there that don't want to educate the inner city.
Hmm.
You're going to have to go to an Indian doctor because India invests in schools.
Yeah.
China, they build smart people. They teach them math. They don't teach them, eating Tide Pods. And I know that's a old one, but like that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And it's completely nonsensical. And if we want to be a country where we have all of the nice things, like we have supposedly all of the resources and the most money, we're not getting to a point where we can have that for everyone. And I think a lot of that is by design. And so it's going to take a lot of breaking down the systems that we have in place now and building them back with something better, something that puts people front and center in the conversation because it's not that way now.
Yeah. And for me, some of these folks continue to vote for these people that get on TV and are calling all of us, not just the black and brown community, they're calling all of us stupid and lazy. People not from here, people that were educated somewhere else came here to tell you that our education system has built a bunch of dumb, lazy people.
Yeah. And you know what sucks?
That doesn't wake them up.
Right, right. And you know what sucks about that equation too? Take, for example, Pakistan as a nation. They have over 120 medical schools in Pakistan. So
Amazing.
if you right? It's incredible. I mean, you think about such a small country by comparison to the size of the United States and to have that many medical schools in that nation. Say, for example, a doctor goes and is educated in Pakistan, whether they're from there or not. They get their education in Pakistan. They want to come to the US to practice medicine. They have to go through that process again. They have to go through I know.
And they
I know.
probably show up and they're like, "Man, this is easy. You guys are dumb and lazy."
I mean, but yeah, like it's insane. They have to still go through the process
Yeah.
of coming here, shadowing a doctor, getting into medical school, getting into residency, and then practicing from scratch in a new place.
Yeah. It's so wild. It's so wild. It's so wild. And then like I want to go back to, the schooling and all that stuff and after school programs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Poor people, so
Hmm.
you understand, rich people take their kids to after school programs, they get fed, that all the wonderful things. Rich kids get all those things. I'm not saying to go full socialist or anything like that. Whatever boogeyman word you want to use, I'm not saying to go that deep. What I am saying is if you want to be known as the best of the best, you have to invest in the schools that make you the best of the best.
100%.
And instead of pointing at people saying, look, they're stupid and they're lazy, if they're doing that, well, then there's a problem. The problem is education needs looking at. What makes people go broke? Healthcare needs to be looked at. Then the question becomes, how do we afford it? How do you think, Ericka? How do you think we should afford it?
I have a couple of plans for how we can afford the society of our dreams. And that includes number one, taxing wealth in excess of $10 million. Because why do we need billionaires? I'm just kidding.
See,
I mean,
let's go down that rabbit hole, right?
yeah,
I wouldn't mind having a billionaire if all our streets were fixed. I wouldn't mind having billionaires if our education system was pumping out doctors, lawyers, plumbers,
yeah,
construction folks.
exactly.
I wouldn't care.
Mhm.
But the fact that we're stretching the fabric of society. We have people that are pushing, and they're so greedy, and they're not taking care of the people that, quite honestly, the rich people are taking advantage of.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's one part.
One part. All right.
Another part is closing loopholes in the tax code so that all those wealthy individuals who can avoid taxes and corporations who do avoid taxes pay their fair share.
I keep asking that question,
Mhm.
and I'm going to continue to push this idea. Hopefully, if I say this enough, this will turn into everyone's number one way of affording this stuff.
Mhm.
We stop bombing countries. If we did that tomorrow, if we did that today, that's trillions of dollars that we can put back into our society to make it a better place.
Completely agree. The DoD budget is so unbelievably inflated, and they've never been able to pass an audit. So, like, tell me why you need the money that you have when you can't tell me why or how you're using the money effectively.
Right. And then we're finding out that that money also goes and makes more money because the inventory gets a little old, so you have to
Mhm.
sell it to someone.
Right.
And we find out that we've been selling it to a lot of dirty folks. And then we wonder, why other people overseas have all this military stuff.
Right. Yeah. So shrinking the defense budget is certainly a part of that list too. At this
And if
point, there's like 5 things on the list.
yeah, and just because I'm petty, if I was ever in charge, I would go get Elon and I get all his little knucklehead boys that they had. What was it?
Doge.
Mr. Big Dick,
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those guys,
What
whoever
was
that
his
is.
name? That's gonna bother me now.
I'd go get all of them, and then I'd have them do that Doge bullshit at the Department of Justice or Department of Defense or Department of War now because little dick energy. But I would totally do that. And then they would come out with the spreadsheet so they can show you just how much Elon is taking from you. That way they can show you exactly where all this money's going to. And I'm not saying we don't need a Department of Defense. We do. The thing that frustrates me with that also is we're building all of this technology, and not all of it is for killing. The army came out with like microwaves and something as simple as sizing of your clothing. They came up with that. Small, medium, large, extra large. That was them.
So they're the ones that I should blame for women's clothing sizes?
Probably. But all of this science that's being done, it's being done by people that don't live here. At what point are our citizens going to realize that exporting intelligence is a national security issue?
Like, it's so basic. You would think that everyone would understand that. When we send out our intelligence, that is kind of by default putting our own national security at risk. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's logical,
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of documented cases of people stealing government secrets.
right?
That's one of the big reasons why we're in the situation where we're in now.
Mhm.
folks have been stealing secrets. And then, to keep that a secret, we have to bend over backwards for people that don't live here.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, it's insane that we are continuing this war. I don't care what he calls it. It is, for all intents and purposes, a war. We're continuing this war for Israel.
Yeah.
Israel has universal health care.
Yeah.
Israel has universal education.
Yeah.
And
And from
yet,
what I understand, this could be wrong. I'd have to look into it before I go saying anything too crazy, but I have heard that they can get abortions. Like,
oh, I don't know.
let me see, because I
It,
could have sworn we can keep talking, but
yeah.
uh,
I don't know.
anyway, they get a lot more stuff than we do,
This is true. This is very true.
and we're paying for it.
We are. And we're squeezed so thin as it is. When the ACA tax credits expired, people's healthcare went up. People's healthcare is only going to continue to go up because, again, the big bullshit bill. And
Here we go.
now we're paying. Yeah.
Here we go. I just did a quick Google search, you guys, so don't get mad at, if it's Grok or whomever. I don't care. Google says, yes, abortion is legal in Israel and is heavily subsidized or fully covered by the country's universal healthcare system.
There we go. Because abortion is healthcare. Period.
And not for anything. Abortion is not really any of my business. I mean, if I were to have gotten someone pregnant, I would like to have a say-so in it. But at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
it's not my body. How can I tell you what to do with your body? I can't tell you I can't tell you what to do with your house, with your car, with your pencils, with your papers, with your books, with your education. I can't really tell you anything. So how am I gonna, like, it's 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 so ridiculous. How do we still have citizens in this country? This is so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And like the sad thing is, too, the people who are so anti-abortion, I wonder if they know what the medical treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is. It's an abortion. Ectopic pregnancies are not viable. It's an abortion. Like, and the life of the mother is going to be at issue if an ectopic pregnancy ruptures, and the treatment is an abortion. So, like, I'm so tired of this whole states' rights issue being used as a way to remove rights from people at the federal level. Because no, I'm not going to let some politician get in the room with me and my OBGYN and tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. I don't think so. Because just the same way as I wouldn't want that, you wouldn't want a politician in the exam room with you if you were talking to your healthcare provider about Viagra.
And
And
just
yet,
take a look at, so even something as simple as the president won't share his health records.
mm-hmm.
Okay. We all know you're dying, dude. We all know it. Everybody is, for technically, but we're not the leader of the country. So there is an importance to understanding your health levels. But no,
Absolutely.
this dude doesn't want to share his secrets. He doesn't want your eyes on his doctor's papers. So why the hell do they get to put their eyes on yours?
Exactly. And what they've been doing recently, they've been trying to get medical records of people who've been receiving gender affirming care. Hello, HIPAA is still the law of the land. And you're going to say that you have an interest in that? How? How? Meanwhile, I think it's a national security issue that we all can see with our own eyes that our president is ailing mentally, physically.
Taking naps during meetings and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, at what point is it elder abuse?
MAGA. You are supporting the same shit the Democrats did just last cycle. Last elections, or last, whatever you want to call it, last presidential stretch, whatever you want to call it. We were frustrated that Joe Biden was taking naps in the middle of meetings too. And then you voted in this dude that's doing the same exact thing. But no, because it's this knucklehead, you guys want to be, oh no, he's cool. He's as healthy as a horse.
And sorry, not sorry, I do not believe the report that was authored by the White House physician
No.
that said that he was, 6'4", 230 pounds. No, I don't believe that at all.
I'm 6 feet, 220.
And you don't look like him.
I don't. I don't eat hamburgers every day. I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat all that dumb shit. It's so crazy that people continue. And you know what it is? Not that this is the answer of anything, but what was I going to say? It was about pulling the sheet over someone's eyes and people just following just because that's who their champion is right now. Mm-hmm. It's the whole emperor's got no clothing thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
you guys,
absolutely.
He's old as shit.
Yep. He's not just resting his eyes in there either. He's full on asleep.
He is knocked clean out.
Meanwhile, he talked about Sleepy Joe. He's the one sleeping in the meetings.
Yeah. Yeah. All slack-jawed and funny looking. It's so...
Well, he was funny looking before he started sleeping in meetings, but...
Yeah. Let's talk about growing up in Virginia.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So
you were born and raised in Virginia's 1st District.
So I was raised in Virginia's 1st District from the time that I was 3, but I was born just outside of Tampa, Florida, and my family relocated when I was very young. Dad had a job up here, so whole family moved. And really, the earliest memories that I have are growing up in Virginia's 1st District. I went to school here, public schools, all throughout kindergarten through 12th grade. I graduated from a high school in my district, Tucker High School, conveniently also the same high school that our current governor, Abigail Spanberger, graduated from.
Nice.
Interesting little connection. Funny enough, my older sister, who is also my campaign manager, she...
Hey, sis.
Yeah, right? She's not here now, but I'll let her know you say hey. So she went to the same high school, graduated 11 years before I did. And Abigail Spanberger and my older sister were in theater together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they have, connections being in high school together. And her mom, Abigail's mom, her name is Eileen. She's lovely. She was the drama club booster mom. And so she remembered my sister, and we've seen her so many times throughout this journey. And she's such a lovely human, and I adore her with all of my heart.
Yeah. So we like Spanberger. So moving on.
Okay, so full transparency, I voted for her because honestly, Winsome Earl Sears was crazy. But I do think that we're in a stage right now where we've got some growing pains. And frankly, I don't love some of the policies that she has done over the last year. Last, I don't know, 5 months. She's vetoed a lot of legislation that was put on her desk that I don't agree with. For example, there was a bill to allow for collective bargaining of public, state level public employees. So, like, particularly people who work in the university systems. We have quite a few public universities here in Virginia. I graduated from one of them, in fact. Shout out to VCU. And right now, the people who work on those campuses, like my alma mater, VCU, they do not have the ability to unionize. They do not have the ability to collectively bargain. And there was a bill that went to her desk to allow for that under state law, and she vetoed it. My older sister, again, she works at VCU. That bill would have been beneficial for her. It would have been beneficial for thousands of Virginians. People who are in unions, they helped Abigail Spanberger get elected. And then when she had the opportunity to sign this bill, she didn't. That was really disappointing to me. There's been some progressive legislation to come out of the General Assembly this year because now we've got a Democratic majority in both chambers of the Virginia legislature. And quite a few of these bills have been vetoed. She's provided her explanation, but I don't agree with her vetoes on them.
What was her explanations? Like, why, given the job to make American citizens' life easier, why would you vote against something that does exactly that?
Right. And so some of the reasoning that she gave for some of her vetoes was that we need more time to be able to have a stronger framework and for at least one piece of legislation, I'll back up. There was a bill on her desk to create a retail cannabis market here in Virginia. So we legalized cannabis quite a few years ago, but
Wheat.
yeah, and I'll tell you, it is not like it is in California here. Even though it is recreationally legal here in Virginia, there is no recreational market. So if you want to buy cannabis here in Virginia, you have to have a medical card or at least a medical certification, and you have to go to the medical dispensary. Those are the only dispensaries that exist here in the Commonwealth, and you can only purchase cannabis pursuant to the certification of a licensed provider.
Can you have it with you even though you don't have a card?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's in the sense that it's recreationally legal. You're allowed to have cannabis on you,
Yeah.
but you just can't buy it legally. And so if people don't have access to a provider to get a card or to get a certification, it allows for the continuation of the black market. There's no regulation on products that are in the black market. And so she vetoed the retail cannabis market. Now, mind you, this is something that has been in play, that we've been getting to this point of having a legal recreational market for years. This was something that was put off by the last administration, which was a Republican administration. And so we've had time to acclimate to first decriminalization in 2020 and then legalization in 2021 or 2022. And since then, we have been, in a sense, preparing for that legal recreational market pursuant to the law that allowed for recreational cannabis here in Virginia. But the veto was because this was something that she believed was rushed and did not allow for time to consider the mistakes that other states had made, or at least the lessons that they had learned from rushing into a legal recreational cannabis market.
Let me share parts of my experience here in California.
Please.
I didn't really use until it became legal. I have this thing about going to jail. Like I came up through, like, I grew up half a block away from the projects, and now I'm almost the opposite of that. So I've seen and I've experienced and all the things. When California finally legalized it, a lot of the fears that, oh, everyone's going to be sleeping on benches and doing all that is not the case. There are some very productive, well-meaning citizens that I smoke weed because I have ADHD and my brain is going and all the things. It helps me sleep.
Yeah.
It helps me, and I'm not wake and bake. I'm not any of that stuff. If anything, you'll see me in the back porch at night getting ready for bed.
Yeah. I hear you.
It makes, for me, it makes a difference, and I don't have to. I grow my own. I don't have to uh take Xanax or whatever other thing that people are taking
Yeah.
that science is creating. And again, these prescription drugs and all that stuff, if that works for you, please leverage it.
Yeah.
I don't want that stuff in my body. And so I
Hmm.
find natural ways of doing it. And marijuana is one of those.
I hear you. My
And I
husband
would
is a co-
rather, I would rather be able to go to the store and get something that is clean and works than having to find someone in the streets in that black market, because
Exactly.
I come from that world and it's not a pretty world. So if we legalize it and let these people do business the way that businesses should be run. I
100%.
I also don't want cannabis stores having to go to the bank with a bag full of money with the big dollar sign on it.
Yeah.
I don't want that for them.
I hear you. I hear you. And I think to that point, I think we need to take cannabis off of the federal schedule entirely. I think we need to allow these markets that have been set up through state law to access the banking system. It's going to infuse a
Yeah.
lot of cash into the economy that isn't already there. And
Alcohol is way more destructive to your body than cannabis is. And cigarettes.
mhm. Meanwhile, I'm living in tobacco country.
Yeah. But again,
Yeah.
like, and I've done so much work for tobacco. I used to, like, my career was in advertising and I did
Uh-huh.
so much work for tobacco. Um, they have so much money. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
But
We've got
yeah,
Altria down the street and Philip Morris down a couple more streets. Yeah.
yeah, I've worked for both of those guys. Sorry,
Yeah,
America. That's why I use my powers now. I use my powers for good.
I love that.
Um, just to spread proper information. I like going to the source. I like talking to Ericka about what's going on in Virginia. So you guys get a good read on what's happening. Because we're starting to learn that we can't really trust folks out here. And I'm
Yeah,
telling you, marijuana makes me a much happier person. It makes me more loving.
I totally understand that. My husband is a combat veteran. He served in Afghanistan.
Yes.
He
Thank you
ended up
for to have him to thank him for his service.
I will. And thank you for your support. It means a lot. He unfortunately was injured in the line of duty,
Mm-hmm.
and it resulted in a traumatic brain injury, and that's paired along with PTSD. He has a tremor that goes from his neck all the way down his trunk and into his arms and hands. So, towards the end of the night, it gets really difficult for him trying to do simple things like eating or drinking when his head is going like this and his hands are shaking like this. He uses cannabis to allow his body to calm down and relax. And it works for him.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there has been no medication, and I promise you, he's tried everything that the VA has offered to help with these tremors. There is no medication that works for him the way that cannabis works for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And
like,
he's
for us,
productive. He's a productive member of society.
well, I mean, he's medically retired, so like, he doesn't work for a living, but staying alive is kind of his job now at this point.
We keep doing that to kids. We keep doing that. We keep making the I have friends whose sons I was in the army, but I didn't see any kind of battle. We got on lockdown once Desert Storm started. But that's the extent of my traumaticness, you know. But we keep sending these kids out to these violent scenes without fully understanding what we're doing to them. And then when we bring them back home, we just pat them on the back and there you go, send them off.
Yeah. And thank you for your service too.
Yeah, but you know, I thank you. I have to learn how to take those, but I have friends whose kids have gone out and have come back and don't know how to maneuver society.
Yeah.
And they teach us how to be violent. They teach us that do what I say or you're going to get punched in the face or. So then when you teach kids how to do that and they don't fit in society and then they go and take matters into their own hands. And now I have friends whose kids are in jail for whether it's attempted murder or full on murder or whatever the hell it is, because we're cooking these kids' brains with little to no resources when you come out.
Yeah. My husband has been out, at least out of combat, for 16 years. Almost exactly 16 years. It'll be 16 years in August. And he still doesn't know how to live civilian life. Because
Yeah.
that's not something that's taught. It's not they go out there and yes, they're taught how to shoot a gun. They're taught how to be a soldier,
How to survive.
how to survive. But they're not taught how to reacclimate upon entry into normal everyday society with civilians. It's not the same. It's not the same world at all.
The world of the military and the world of corporate America are completely different. The military is your team. You make sure your buddy is alive. You make sure that the team, it's the most team oriented environment that needs to be team oriented environment. And you take those guys after you scramble their brains with all those shooting the guns and you solve problems with your fists and all that stuff. And then you drop them in corporate America where everything is stab you in the back and me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why veterans don't quite fit into corporate America. And then all these, I almost went nuts. I'm going to say it. I don't even care. All these hillbillies with these MAGA hats that didn't have the jelly beans to sign on the dotted line. And then you're out here, whenever it comes to, why is it that when it comes to you showing force and you wanting to be Billy Badass, when it comes to American citizens, you're all about that life. But when it comes time to going to Afghanistan, you jump. I'm sorry for saying it like that. This is for them.
Yeah, yeah.
You jump on pussy. You are a coward. And then you're even more of a coward when you're in the streets talking hard the way that you do in front of people. And a lot of them are fucking veterans. They are you have a bone spur coward talking shit about veterans.
Yep. And it's not lost on me that we are the day after Memorial Day. And one of the most egregious things that draft dodging bone spur having human,
trick ass bitch,
thank you, he wants to call veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country suckers and losers. Get fucked.
Truly. Truly. All right, let's decompress a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's take a breath.
Ooh.
You said that your sister is your campaign manager.
She is.
Have you guys always been politically minded?
No. In fact, I was never overtly political until really last year. And with everything happening, constant, day after day, chaos, flooding the zones with all of this awfulness. And the fact that my representative, Rob Whitman, wasn't doing anything to stand up to this president, to this convicted felon of a president. Oh, that pissed me off. Because, I mean, we've taken an oath to the Constitution. My representative has taken an oath to the Constitution. He would rather put that oath aside than actually do what is right by the Constitution. Here we call him Rubber Stamp Rob because he goes right in line with what his party and this president say and want to do.
Yeah. So that, let me share with you this story. Because this one, especially understanding now that your husband is who he is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've met him yet, but Bernard Taylor down in Florida 21.
I love Bernard Taylor. I've
Isn't
not
he
met
amazing?
him in person. He's such a great person. I adore him. We're both courage candidates. He is just such a wonderful human.
Yeah. He's running against a guy who wore an Israeli uniform to Congress. And when recorded, he said, you have your uniform and I have mine.
Okay, traitor, get the hell out.
You know what I'm saying? If you are a person getting into politics and you're just going to be taking, if it's Project 2025 that the Heritage Foundation worked on and all you're doing is rubber stamping, you got to get the hell out. You applied for a job that you're not doing. You're cheating off of someone else's paperwork, off of someone else's homework. And isn't it frustrating when you hear people saying things like, oh yeah, I didn't read that bill all the way through? Then why did we send you to DC?
You had one job.
You had one job.
You
have a team. And you have a team of people. Everybody grab a page. Let me know.
Yeah. Granted, I can understand how these bills might be, in the thousands of pages, but you have a whole staff and this is your job. This is what people sent you to DC to do. And you're gonna not read the thing that you're supposed to be voting on for the whole entirety of your district. I don't know about everyone else's district, but my district has 814,000-ish people. Like, that's a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
that we would be making decisions for in DC. How you ain't gonna read the bill? Like,
You
that's
have
day one
one
stuff.
job.
Yes.
How about that? How
That,
about don't go to the Met Gala because you have reading. You have reading homework assignment.
sir, you have homework. You need to do your homework before you can go play. Like, I just, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least if they can be honest about, oh, I didn't read the bill all the way through. Okay, fine. But then what about the people that will say, oh, yeah, I read the bill and I agree with it? Or the people that say, oh, this bill, I read it and it doesn't do the thing that you're saying it does. Hello, I can read too. Like, I have a whole ass law degree. And a lot of that came with reading comprehension in tow. So, like, what are we talking about here? Because either I'm lying and I'm not, or you are. And between, one person who upholds the Constitution and one person who maybe would rather defer to a president.
Yeah. That's not how the game is played, y'all. This is
Yeah.
just not. It's just not.
It's so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me. And like I wish that some of these Republican members of Congress would come home and do town halls because
Yeah.
they'd get booed all the way out of DC
That's
practically.
why they stopped doing them.
I know it. I know
That's
it. My own congressman hasn't done one since before COVID. It's been that long.
and that's part of the gig, son. Like if we gave you this job and you're not doing the job and we're trying to talk to you about you doing your job and you're hiding, you
That's all it is.
another coward.
That's all it is. Meanwhile, now that he knows that there's pressure on him, my congressman has actually decided to emerge from his hidey hole and go out and meet all of us regular folk. I got a chance to meet him a couple of weekends ago for the first time. I'd never met this man before ever. And I'm like, I'm out in the community. I'm where the people are. Where are you, dude? And so he was there. I met him at this event, the Bon Air Victorian Day parade. And he's going around shaking everyone's hand. Oh, hi, I'm Rob Whitman. And so I shake his
And
hand.
who are you?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Rob. Nice to meet you. What do you do around here?
Uh-huh.
Not
I
much
said,
of anything, sir.
right. I said, hi, Rob. My name's Ericka Kopp. I'm your competition.
I love it.
It happened so fast. And like I couldn't stop those words from coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. What's your district like? Is it very country? Is it very city?
So we have some smaller cities within the district, but for the most part, it's suburbs and rural areas. And so we've got some of the suburbs surrounding the city of Richmond. And then we go all the way east through Williamsburg, so like William and Mary area. Um, and then we go out to north of where I am, east of where I am, and all the way out to the little cutout area of Virginia on the Chesapeake Bay side, the Northern Neck and the Middle Peninsula. So it's pretty large, and it's fairly dense as far as population goes. And we've been making our way throughout all parts of this district, and it's been so rewarding not just to see that, there are people who vote Democratic in these rural areas, but there are a lot more blue dots than I would have thought that there would have been. And so we get out there and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. And we went to this really small little county in the district, Matthews County, and it's in that cutout area.
Hmm.
And this county, despite being one of the smallest counties in Virginia by population, when we had the referendum election, this county had the most proportion of the county voting in early voting, leading even Northern Virginia areas.
Hmm.
So leading Fairfax, leading my county of Henrico County, leading the city of Richmond. I mean, like, I was so impressed with the turnout that this county was able to do. And it's all these people who are just out there canvassing, telling people how they can register to vote, making sure people have the information about getting out to vote. And that is something that really filled my heart so much. Like, these people are hungry for representation. And it's not coming from Ron Whitman.
It's power is a wild beast, and folks that get it, it's hard for them to let go. If it's like they're in the cool kids club, and they forget about the people who put you in the cool kids club.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's really, and it's unfortunate. And the more people that I talk to, like you, the younger generation that doesn't have the same relationship with money and power that the older folks do,
Mhm.
um, you guys are literally the only reason I have trust that we're going to eventually turn this thing around. Because the old way of doing it, it's only obvious that it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, that's why I'm so glad that there are people in areas that are challenging establishment Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, people who are progressive, people who don't take any APAC money, don't take any corporate money, and they are going up against all of the corporate money. They're going up against Democrats who take APAC money, and they are doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
It
All
definitely
these
gives me hope.
all these corporations are having to spend so much money just to keep the status quo. Eventually, eventually that dam is going to break.
And I hope that these midterms are when it does,
Yeah.
because we need
Yeah.
change.
For real. For real. What are some of the more local issues that people in the first district of Virginia are hoping that you help fix?
There is an issue that we learned about, again, in that cutout area, in the more rural area. um, Lancaster County is the name of the county. And some people in that county in 2026 do not have running water.
The infrastructure is there and they can't pay the water bill,
No,
or
like, there's no setup to get running water to their homes.
let alone internet.
Yeah. And I wanna just take a minute to juxtapose that from the fact that here in Virginia, we have the most data centers in the country.
Yeah.
And also, we have one of the richest counties in the country in Loudoun County, just a
Yeah.
couple of hours away from this county.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a couple of hours away in rural Virginia, there are people that don't have access to running water at their homes.
They're still on wells and they're still
And
They
some of those
or do they have
wells,
to go to the river to do laundry and beating them up?
get this. Some of those wells aren't even on their property, they're on somebody else's property. So if they
Damn.
have an issue with the water, they gotta go talk to the neighbor up the street who's got the well on their property.
Yeah. Jesus.
And, like, something so basic as to have a way for us to get all of our needs met. Same county, they also have an issue with getting doctors
Yeah.
in their hospital. There's one hospital out there, and you cannot, well, not you personally, but if a woman is in labor and is about to deliver a baby, you cannot deliver a baby at that hospital. Yeah, you can't deliver a baby at that hospital. You have to go to Richmond, and it's an hour and a half by ambulance, and going the quickest way from Lancaster County to Richmond, you got to cross 2 bridges, and one of them is horrific.
Crumbling.
Yes. It's
But
it's past
but
its prime.
we're the smartest, most richest, most well-off country in the history of the world.
Maybe 3 hours from DC, we've got problems that people have just overlooked for so long, and, like, that's when I talk about there being people that are so starved for representation. These people need somebody to fight for them. Because I'll tell you what, Rob Whitman, he lives really close to there. And he
Yeah.
doesn't fight for them.
No. What's his background? Is he like a farmer or something, or
So this is
is he
interesting.
a nepo baby?
This might make you laugh. He is a former Virginia Department of Health employee. So he has a background in public health.
Yeah.
He has a master's degree and I believe also a doctorate of public health.
Okay.
He worked for 26 years at the Virginia Department of Health and then went into state legislature and then went up to Congress, where he's been in Congress for the past 19 years. Being in Congress, just in the last year or so, he voted for the big bullshit bill, which takes nearly $1 trillion out of healthcare, out of Medicaid specifically. This man who grew up himself on Medicaid, pulling the ladder up from everybody else.
I am so tired of hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
I am so tired of hearing that. I read something about Clarence Thomas just yesterday, I
Mm-hmm.
think it was. That motherfucker keeps breaking my heart. You said you were biracial?
Yeah.
What's your recipe?
I've never heard it referred to that way. So, my mom is from Eritrea, which is a small country in Eastern Africa. So I am Eritrean and Italian and a whole bunch of other things on her side. And then my father was every kind of white European imaginable. So English, German, we think there's a little bit of Scottish in there.
Yeah.
I'm a Heinz 57.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. Did you ever like bump into any kind of weird, like when you're in school and stuff? Did having mixed match parents ever play into any kind of challenges or anything?
You know, it's interesting that you ask that because the way that I grew up, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I was raised to be very white presenting. And of course I'm passing. I acknowledge that I'm lighter skinned. Um, but I was raised in a very like we're white. kind of household. So
Yeah.
it was very much white dominance in my household, from the way that we looked to the way that we talked to the people that I dated. And so it was a lot of patriarchal
Mm-hmm.
control.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize that now. My father has since passed, um, but it was very much like this was how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of the way that we were raised, I never realized that I was mixed until high school. So there was a lot of like racial suppression in my household.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think my mom was kind of going along with my dad because he was the head of the household or whatever. Um, but yeah, so it was never like I never thought that the way that my family situation was different from anyone else. I always thought, oh, that's just how everyone's parents look.
Yeah.
And it never really dawned on me until much later.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Um, and I say that because, there's a certain expectation that people have when you say you have a black parent. Um, and ever since talking to way more people on this channel, um, and I'm talking to black folks, and so many black folks are like, no, my childhood was lovely.
Mhm.
you know, um, I was talking to a friend of mine on the channel, and she was telling stories about her childhood. She's a black lady, grew up in the LA area, and she was telling stories and all this other stuff. And I said, "Oh yeah, that was right around the time I was first called with hate the N-word." And she said, "That as a kid, that never happened to me." And I said, "What a lovely way to grow up." Like we're both telling stories about being broke ass kids, coming from nothing. And the fact that she was never called the N-word, I was like, "Oh, that's that sounds awesome."
Man, I'm sorry
you
that
know,
happened to
yeah. I mean, it happened. Ignorance is out there.
that is
Um, and what I have learned is taking the only way I can make it make sense is take that hate, turn it into a log, and just throw it into the fire of my motivation.
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's honestly that's the only way. And then understanding this is going to sound heavy-handed, but whatever. Um, soon enough they'll die off, and especially with social media and just exposure to our cultures and where we come from. Um, if we continue to celebrate our people and where we come from and like treat America how it's supposed to be a celebration of different cultures coming together.
Exactly.
So approach it with that, and then the people that don't want to be there, then don't don't expect them to be there. And do us a favor, don't show up. We don't need you. We don't need hate.
Exactly.
Soon enough, you'll die off. That's the brutal reality of of
Yeah.
the cycle of life. It's like everyone, not everyone, but there's a lot of people that hate gay people until their son comes home with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, oh, maybe gay people aren't that bad.
Yeah. I mean, I completely understand that. I never came out to my father before he passed. So I'm also bisexual, and I'm in a heteronormative relationship. My husband is my husband. Um but I've known since I was under the age of 18 for sure that I liked both boys and girls. And I I never told my dad about that before he passed. And I waited to tell my mom and my sister about that until, like, I don't know, 6 months, a year after my dad died, and, of course, my sister was like, "I already knew."
That's and that's the funny thing, right? Like, I mean, there's been I have a lot of gay friends, and they're like, I have something to tell you." I'm like, "Bitch, I already knew." Like, it's okay. Who nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
At least not around here. I don't care. I want you. I want you how you are. I don't want the fancy stuff. I don't want the frills. I don't want the fireworks. I want you who you are. Show me who you are so I know who I'm dealing with.
yeah, absolutely. That authenticity, it matters so much,
So
whether
much.
we be running for Congress or talking to people just in our everyday life, like, it matters. It matters being able to have somebody real that we're talking to. It matters being able to know that the other person is being their authentic self.
Yeah. And having the freedom to find out who that authentic self is.
Yes. That's a
That's
freedom we
that's
don't talk about enough.
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to you're supposed to have this bubble of protection around you so you can figure out. And if you maybe think you're gay, you go figure it out and then come back and let us know. Like nobody's going to judge you.
Yeah. If you're with the right people, that is absolutely true. If you've got the right people in your circle, no one is gonna judge you.
Yeah.
But if they're not the right people that are in your circle, hey, you're gonna know when you explain what the situation is, if you so choose, that they're not my people. And it is just as important to know that. It's just as important to know that these people are not my people,
Hmm.
so that you're able to go and find your people.
Right. And same thing goes racially speaking. Like I, you know why I don't go to Klan rallies? Because they don't want me there.
I don't think they're gonna want me there either. I I'm too dark for the whitest white people, I tell you that much.
Yeah. And if you're going to be a hateful fucker, then just let me know so I can move on with my life. I don't
Yeah,
need you. I don't, I'll go as far as to say, here, let me start that statement by giving you this story. Once someone said, "Carlos, I'm amazed by you because your friends are like your socks. None of them match."
what the hell?
Yeah, because I don't care. I accept you as you are. If you don't want to be there, I don't want you there. Go make your
Yeah,
own memories somewhere else, however the hell you want to make them. But understand that I will be bringing Spanish folks, black folks, women, gays, lesbians, uh, trans folks. I fuck with all of you guys. And that's
same.
how I roll. If I am bringing my friends with me and you're going to be a fuckhead, I don't need to bring my friends to where you are.
Exactly.
It's just that simple.
Yeah,
Stop being
exactly.
so fucking hateful.
Right? And, like, I can't wrap my head around why it is that some people have so much hate in their hearts. This was something that I was thinking about this morning. Like, why? Why is that the case? Like, some of it, I'm sure, is how people were raised, but I just saw a video on Threads, last night or the night before, where this kid, um, young, maybe 10 years old, a little white boy, called a little black girl the N-word, and the parents of the little black girl brought this to the attention of the father of the little white boy, and you could see that the boy's father was embarrassed and pissed off. So I'm like, okay, well, you didn't learn that at home. Like that's the one thing that I can be certain of from this clip. You, that you weren't taught that at home. So where'd you learn that?
Where'd you learn it?
And I'm just like, how? How is this still in 2026 that people are still racist, that people are still sexist, that people are still homophobic? Granted, I know that because we have somebody in the White House who is all of those things, it is easier for people to show their true colors out in public, out in the open. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hell, there was just Saturday, there was a literal Nazi parade in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Walking down the street, flags, face masks, all dressed the same. And I'm like, what the hell?
Go back to your country. We don't need that shit here.
And some of this, I'm like, man, we really, really should have prosecuted the Confederates.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we drive east in our district, maybe 15 minutes outside of the city of Richmond. And I don't know if you know this, but Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy all of those years ago. 15 minutes outside of the city of Richmond, there is still a Confederate flag off the side of the interstate. You go 2 hours outside of Richmond, south or west, you got the same thing. And
one of the last times I was in Florida, I've never seen a flag so big, and it was a huge Confederate flag. It must have been 3-4 stories, maybe 5 stories tall, just hanging there in Florida. And I'm like, what country do you live in?
I
So
can't
you
get
don't
down
have,
with
yeah.
I can't get down with the people who say, "Oh, it's history, not hate." Sir, do you know that the Confederacy lasted for 4 years?
Yeah.
Your president
Yeah.
has been in office for longer than the Confederacy existed. Obama was in office for longer than the Confederacy existed. So that's not history. No. You're paying homage to traitors to the United States of America and calling it history? Open
Yeah.
a textbook and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I
It makes
go and I start hanging Cuban flags, Puerto Rican flags up, right? You're going to catch a case because it's not the American flag, right? It's all dog shit. It's all
it
dog
is.
shit.
It is. And you know what? I'd fly a Puerto Rican flag all day long. And when people say, go back to your country, I'm in it. Puerto Rico's part of the United States.
Yeah.
Same thing. Open a textbook.
As a matter of fact, Puerto Rico has been longer has been a part of the United States longer than the Confederacy was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100 and something years.
Yeah. And so this rationale that no, it's heritage. Boy,
It
what?
is not.
I grew up in the capital.
That's what the American
Confederacy.
flag is for. That's your
Yeah.
heritage.
I don't claim that as my fucking heritage. Absolutely not.
Right.
No. That is a stain on the history of this nation.
Yeah.
We should have prosecuted them as the traitors that they were.
That's why I'd go crazy. I'd make all that shit illegal. The flags, them dumbass flags, all that shit would be illegal.
You know, one good thing too that recently happened, and I'd say recently, like within the last 2 months, Governor Spanberger did sign into law a bill that is now going to tax the Daughters of the Confederacy. For all of this time, they had their buildings tax-free. And so now they're going to get taxed.
Why would they be tax-free? It's not a church. Is it a nonprofit? A hateful nonprofit?
It may have been. It may have been, but hey, so is the Heritage Foundation.
Are they tax-free too? and all they do is destroy. So then explain to me this. They are tax-free, but then the Black Panthers, who were actually providing food and education, they were considered a violent group. They were against American ideals, but the Daughters of the Confederacy and the Heritage Foundation, who do nothing but divide, are tax-free.
Hmm. Well, not the Daughters of the Confederacy anymore
Yeah,
in Virginia,
well, yeah,
but
eventually
the
Virginia
Heritage
getting it
Foundation
right.
will.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's on
so
my list of things to do in Congress. If there's a way that I can pull the tax exempt status from the Heritage Foundation and Turning Point USA,
yeah,
I'm doing.
yeah. And then Citizens United. Let's talk about that.
Who let's. So I have signed on to the Move to Amend pledge, where I will, along with the 84 other Courage candidates who have also signed on to the same pledge, we are going to work on a constitutional amendment to get rid of Citizens United.
Did you see that Hawaii?
I
Hawaii did
did.
something. They
I
said that
did. Yeah.
you couldn't. What was it? Corporations can't, but like still rich people can still do rich people shit. They'll
Yeah.
they'll figure out a way to mess it up. But yeah, good on Hawaii for saying no to that. 49
Yeah.
more to go.
Well, 48, because I think the first to do it was actually Montana, which
Shout out Russell Cleveland. Have you met Russell Cleveland yet? Russell Cleveland?
uh I haven't met him, but the name sounds really familiar.
Yeah. He when I was gone for 2 weeks, I unplugged. Like I
Good.
didn't check anything. All I did
Yeah.
was went scuba diving and laid in the sun, ate fruits off the trees.
Oh, I love it. It sounds magical.
But I like when I came back, I want to say Russell, he might be the leading candidate for the Democrats in Montana's first district right now. He's a good guy. If you ever need to connect with him, let me know and I'll make that connection. He's a good guy.
Good. We love.
So if Montana did do that, hell yeah.
Yeah.
More changes coming too, because Russell is that dude. He's an amazing guy.
Love to hear it. Yeah. I have an uncle in Montana, and like they're out in the middle of nowhere. No kidding. Like you have to pack your lunch just to go to the mailbox. It's like a 10-mile drive on a gravel dirt road. And I mean, it's peaceful as hell because there's
Yeah.
nothing out there.
Yeah. They say big
But
sky country and
they
it
do, and they mean
ain't
it.
nothing but sky.
Exactly. They mean it. But I'm just like, man, I love you so much. Turn off Fox News.
Please.
Please.
Please. Fox News has been taken to court for lying. They have been called an entertainment channel.
As they should be called, and not a source of news, because it is nothing but bias made for rage bait and clicks.
Yeah. Yeah. They're Facebook before Facebook. Instagram before Instagram.
Yeah. So true.
That Jesse Waters. Oh, I've said this
Yes.
a couple of times. I would love to invite him to a celebrity boxing match. I want to be that popular where I can invite Jesse Waters to one of those celebrity boxing matches. Because the filth that comes out of his mouth And people eat that shit up.
Yeah. And then we look at people like Brian Kilmeade, who said that unhoused veterans should be euthanized. Like,
Another coward. Another coward.
mhm,
How do this goes out to, the men, men, right?
mhm,
How, when you have veterans who put their lives on the line for you to be able to be a coward and not sign that dotted line, and you get to talk all your shit. This is probably the reason why, because they all identify and all the punks are the ones. It's all, all the punks have taken over, so the punks have to take care of the other punks.
mhm.
That's why we have the Brian Kilmeades talking shit. That's why we have the Jesse Waters talking shit. That's why we have the Proud Boys talking shit. And that's why we have a leader. The leader of this country is a coward and just a greedy pig.
Yeah.
But they're taking care of themselves. My question was that. My question was, you have veterans who anteed up and did their thing,
Mhm.
and you are letting these bums deface veterans?
Right. How do we square that? The party that always talked about back in the blue and support our troops,
Yeah.
but they wanna come and say shit like that on national television?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then to compound that problem, this is my coming from the inner city, uh, Chicago. So, I've seen some
Yeah,
things.
sure.
When I was a kid, and all the kids that were around me, we all had hopes and dreams. We wanted to go to the school to learn so we can accomplish all of these hopes and dreams. But instead of books, instead of teachers, resources, we got cameras and police. We continue to spend money in the dumbest of ways. And for the poor people, the poor whites that think that they're better than people coming out of the inner city, rich people don't give a shit about you either, homie.
Exactly.
I hang out with those people now. They don't care about you either. They care more about me because I read books and I travel. And I don't care where you come from. And I don't care your sexual preferences. I don't care. Those people would much rather hang out with me than you. My stories are better. My friends are better. If we were to spend money the proper way in everything that we've been talking about, investing in schools, investing in healthcare, investing in making fucking infrastructure, all these kids that you think are bums because they're black and brown, all those kids would skyrocket. They would excel so much more if you treated them as if they had potential rather than treating them as they are an inmate in waiting. And if that's the way you respond, to if you respond to being treated like an inmate, that's you. Literally everyone I've talked to in the inner city would rather have books than cameras, than security cameras. All of them. All of them.
I believe it. I believe it. And then we wonder why we have a school to prison pipeline. We wonder why there is an overrepresentation of people of color in the carceral system in the United States. Because we don't set up everyone for success in the same way. And if we did, prisons wouldn't be full.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Hey,
wouldn't
and
have a need
let's go a
for
little
prisons.
further. Let's go a little further. From what I understand, all the people that have run for and have run this country are from where? Yale. They're from all these Ivy League schools, and all of them go to jail for stealing your money. Bernie Madoffs, all those guys, Trump, all those guys. All the people that you continue to call crooks went to all those Ivy League schools.
Mhm.
So when normal folks from normal backgrounds are coming to say this doesn't work, and you continue to vote for the crooks that are and we're not talking about stealing your cars and your TVs. We're talking about they're stealing your future.
Yeah.
They're stealing your kids' futures.
And their kids too.
And you're
It's
sending the cameras and the cops to our neighborhoods. You need to be sending that shit to Mar-a-Lago. Look at what's happening.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. It makes my head hurt. It's so mind-bogglingly dumb that people can, again, find themselves more in line with a billionaire than with somebody who looks like you or looks like me. And it's like,
That's
dude,
struggling to make it.
no, like, we are people that are gonna be looking out for you and your kids' interests. Meanwhile, the billionaire, all they look at you and see are dollar signs.
Is the next mark.
Mhm.
You're their next mark.
And it is so common, there is a word for it. It's called white collar crime. Like,
It's
and
crazy.
I don't understand it. And maybe this is where education is really the key to unlocking everything. I
That's what I'm
always say knowledge
saying.
is power.
Yeah.
And maybe if people had a little bit more education and a little less Fox News, they
Mm-hmm.
would see what is really right in front of them.
Yeah. Or the hope would be if you're educated enough and you're well read enough, and the people that surround you are at the same caliber, you can actually figure out who is on the take. You can communicate and say, hey, this is what's happening over there, so be careful.
Mhm.
But there's a certain pride in being dumb these days.
That's a good way of putting it.
I don't get it. And then they're like, oh, you're part of the educational elites. No, I'm normal. I'm very normal. The only reason I have healthcare is because I go to the VA.
Same for my husband. He went into the military, put college on hold, and used his benefits to go to college later.
Yeah.
That's how he ended up going because he got kicked out of school. He was not getting into college right after high school as it was.
Yeah. I got kicked out of 2 church schools for being poor. We couldn't pay the tuition, you know? And my thing is if we had schools, I'm a big fan of education. If we had fully funded schools and we had just everything that we would we would have a better product. The United States would have a better product. Product
Yeah.
meaning Americans.
Mhm.
So then that way we can go just about anywhere and figure it out.
I agree.
We can grow whatever we want. We can build
Cure
whatever
any
we want. And then that way we don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah. I completely agree. I wanna see a world in which we have universal pre-K, public school fully funded, so that people don't have to spend anything on a public school education, a quality public school education. I want to see free public colleges and universities and trade schools.
Yeah. And we know it works because look at all the good neighborhoods. I went to Chicago. I went to high school in Chicago. And then I worked, when I was working my way through college, I worked in a fancy high school, one of the good neighborhood high schools. That shit was better than the college I was going to.
Man.
It was so nice. It was so nice. And all those kids there, they were locked and loaded for success. The teachers were better teachers because the money that they were able to pay teachers there attracted the better teachers.
Yeah.
And this is the dilemma. We have a bunch of people, and I'm talking from experience. I've worked in Silicon Valley. There's a lot of people, a lot of United States citizens who are not able to find work because all those jobs are going to companies. It looks like they're American, but they're contracting people that don't live here, whether they're from, you said Pakistan earlier. I've worked with Pakistani people. I've worked with Indian people. I've worked with Chinese people, with Japanese people. I've worked with everybody not from here. So even if you want to just say, all right, well, that's how the cookie crumbles. Okay, well, now we have a bunch of computer engineer level brains just sitting here working at Starbucks. We could very easily take that intelligence and pay them something that makes sense and put them in the classroom.
Yeah. Completely.
And I know that it works because the rich kids' schools have proven it.
I completely agree. We need to fund our teachers. We need to fund our schools. We need to make sure that teachers aren't dipping into their own savings to buy supplies for their classrooms. And I can't understand the demonization of teachers in this country by the GOP. I mean, they call them groomers and indoctrinators, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these are
then
the ones trust to teach the next generation.
And then we find out that they're the ones that are wearing the fake tits and the Daisy Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
And doing God knows what to the babies.
Files. Yep. They're the ones in the Epstein files.
Exactly.
Every accusation is a confession.
Exactly. Is there anything that we haven't yet touched on that you want to make sure that we touch on?
There is one thing that I would love to talk about.
Let's do it.
So I have recently come up with a way to get some of the corruption out of DC, particularly this president's corruption. I don't know if you saw the story where Trump had said that he was going to pardon everyone within a 200-foot radius of the Oval Office.
I saw something about that. He's frustrating.
So I am proposing that we have a constitutional amendment to amend the pardon power to remove the president's ability to be able to pardon anyone that's either in his cabinet, a staffer in his administration,
in his family,
anything.
Something so obviously corrupt.
Somebody who's incited an insurrection in his name, anyone.
And then if he gets on the news and he says, are you ready? I don't know the guy. Well, then that lifts the pardon. You have to go back to jail. Because that happened. It was one of his crypto buddies. Are you ready? Are you ready? I don't know the guy. Okay, well, if you don't know him, we got to pull this pardon. That means you didn't do the homework to bring validity to the pardon.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's somebody in the DOJ whose job it is to be the pardon attorney. So, like that's an actual title. That's an actual title, and right now it belongs to Ed Martin. And so either he's lying, which is possible, or somebody didn't do their homework there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting that he would say that he has no connection or no idea of who the guy is. He also said that he didn't know anything about Project 2025 before he was elected.
Straight up lie. Straight up lie. Meanwhile, all his moves are following that map.
Mm-hmm. To a T. To a T. So, yes, I think if we can amend the pardon power in the Constitution to remove a president's ability to pardon anyone that is in his circle,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to cut down on corruption.
I will say the benefit of having Trump as a president is we can see all the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
We need to tighten this shit right back up and take some of this power away, because through the years, they've been slowly but surely giving this dude, not Trump, but the president, more and more power. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
That's
And
not
I
how it's
think
supposed to be.
100%. I think we need to look at the Supreme Court too.
Mm-hmm.
We need major reform to the Supreme Court if we're going to have any possibility of having a functional democracy from here forward.
It's so obvious they're bought.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
Yeah. So much so. So much so. And one thing that I want to do, and I've not seen anyone talk about this, so I'd love to share it with you now. One thing that I want to do is we've heard that the Supreme Court has an ethics code, at least in
Mm-hmm.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not they police themselves onto or by this ethics code is a different story. But Congress has the power to impeach Supreme Court justices. So, if that's the case, wouldn't it stand to reason that Congress can be the one to enforce an ethics code
Mm-hmm.
on the Supreme Court? They have the ability to investigate. They have the ability to impeach. Why not use that power of enforcement over the other two branches to enforce an ethics code? It makes sense. They would be accountable to the people through their representative in Congress. So that's what I want to do.
I like it.
Thank
I
you.
like it. Yeah, we've forgotten how, or we've been groomed. We've been groomed to think that the president has all this power, and he's not supposed to.
Right. Right.
We are. That's why everything is supposed to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
The House, Congress has power of the purse. The president's supposed to be our guy. He's our representative that goes out into the world and tells people and shows people that it's cool to come and work with us. He's not supposed to, the president's not supposed to tell Virginia what to do. The president's not supposed to tell California what to do. That's why we have
Right.
governors.
Exactly.
It's supposed to work like the NFL. It's supposed to work like the NFL. You don't see Roger Goodell or whoever the hell it is that's the commissioner now. He's out there. He makes sure that all the football teams are as competitive as they can be, because the final product is his responsibility. But all the teams have their own owners, their own governors, their own staff, and they go out and they put out the best product, the best, and in this instance, it's a team, you know, and like the commissioner doesn't give a shit if your wide receiver wore the wrong color socks. He doesn't care. It's not his job.
Mm-hmm. I'd never made that connection before, but I see where you're coming from.
It works. Folks don't understand that the NFL is a form of socialism, and they're proving it every year. Because the big market teams, they pay into the NFL. The NFL then takes that money and makes sure that the smaller market teams have a competitive product. Kansas City, if you didn't have it work like that, Kansas City would never be a contender because the market is too small. New York, Chicago, LA would win all the time because they have the money to go get those players.
I did not know that.
I go to the NFL as an example every time because that's what these knuckle draggers speak. They speak sports. Same thing with baseball. Same thing. It would always be, and unfortunately it's not this, but Chicago has such a big market when it comes to baseball that the Cubs should be winning every year, but it's proof that they don't. However, they have to pay to make sure that the smaller market teams are competitive. Why? Because it broadens the brand. That it just works better. If you have a more competitive product, you are more competitive in the world stage. America it doesn't need to be run like a corporation unless it's the NFL, and the NFL is way more socialist than people want to admit.
I'm going to use that.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
going to
here all
use
day. I'm here all
I
day.
like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Granted, I would have understood it more if it were in hockey terms than in football or baseball. But I mean, here we are. I like it.
Yeah, that's why if California, the fourth largest economy in the world, if
Yes.
California said fuck all this and it seceded from the union, Kentucky would be gone. Uh Alabama would be gone. Nebraska would be gone. Why? Because they're smaller markets.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all welfare states.
That's
We
true.
give more money than we
Mm-hmm.
get back. They take more money. And then the bitch about it is they take more money and then they turn around and talk about how bad California is. Meanwhile, you only exist because California.
That's right. That's right. And like, people want to talk about, oh, socialism is so bad. But you ever heard of paved roads or streetlights?
Stoplights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire
Ambulance,
departments,
fire department, police department.
libraries, socialism.
Shit that works.
Meanwhile, they want to ban the books. Like, no, the books aren't the problem. Socialism's not the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is the people.
Banning books is not the solution. Writing
Right.
goofy ass books and all that stuff is not the problem. The problem is you folks that don't take the time to read more often, you're not able to read a book and be like, well, that's bullshit. This is why. Problem solving skills are horseshit in this country.
Right. And then that goes right back to education.
Yeah.
And like, if we had a way for people to educate themselves that didn't cost them
Mm-hmm.
their mortgage, that
Yeah.
didn't cost them tens of thousands of dollars, or in the case of a lawyer, hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mm-hmm.
in tuition and books and everything. If we had that access and people could really truly be whatever it is that they want to be, they would have the skills to be able to not just survive, but to thrive
Right.
in the world that we live in today.
Right.
And maybe they wouldn't get got by a president who's only out for himself.
Selling ugly ass sneakers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And turning the White House into the fake gold section of Home Depot. Ugh.
He is so trashy. Marble and Gold is so played out, you guys. It's so
True
played out.
story.
I watch enough of these home renovation shows
I
that
love
is
it.
just, it's just not. You guys, please turn off Fox News and put on Home and what is that, Home and Gardens channel, please,
Yes, I
so you can
love me
see
some.
what's tacky and what's not.
Okay, real quick before we go, what's your favorite home renovation show?
Oh, let's see. The one that we've been watching lately is what is it? Rock the Block or something like that. It's
Ooh,
like
that's a good one.
it's 4 teams, and it's like, we're catching up on it. The last episode I saw, they got the spin a roulette wheel, and whatever landed, you got that size pool.
Well, that's a good one. I love that.
Yeah, that's the one I've been watching lately. How about you?
So I don't watch a whole lot of home reno shows right now.
Yeah.
Um, Running for Congress and working full time practicing laws. It's taking up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But when we used to watch them, we really liked the Flip or Flop
Yeah.
with Tarek and Christina
Yep.
before they parted ways.
Yeah.
But there's one that we just watched one episode of recently, and it was, I can't remember the name, but it was a Hawaiian couple, and they were renovating homes in Hawaii.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and oh, just the scenery, everything
I'm
is so
telling
beautiful.
Hawaii is so gorgeous.
It's
I
on my
love it out
bucket list.
there. Oh, I love it out there. Do not hesitate.
Well,
Do not
I don't
hesitate.
I don't really want to fly right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Ericka Kopp, go ahead and take the last couple minutes and explain to your constituents who you are and why they should vote for you.
Well,
And also give them where they can find you online.
absolutely. So I am a bold choice. I am a strong voice, and I am all about access and accountability through action. With me, you're going to get exactly what you see. All authentic, all coming as I am, meeting the moment to fight for the people of this district. This district that I've called home since I was 3 years old. And this is truly a calling to serve my community. And that is why I'm running for Congress. And you can vote for me between June 18th and August 4th. Election day is August 4th. Register to vote on or before July 24th. And you can find me at my website, erickakopp.com. That's spelled ERICKAKOPP.com. You can find me on social media at EK, the number 4, VA.
I love it. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Me too. This was so much fun. Seriously, if ever we want to have a chat, either online, offline, whatever, like I am here for it.
Me too. Me too. Thank you everybody for listening to me vent a little bit. Like, that's one of the fun things about hanging out with you guys, is just being able to just vent and say something's not working, it doesn't feel right, and how can we fix it? And you guys have answers, and I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us. Um, Thanks. That's that's all I got anymore.
Thank you for having me. Truly, if ever we want to have another conversation, I loved this so much.
Awesome. Thanks. And with
Take
that,
care.
everybody, we're out.